Welcome back. I had promised you at the beginning of the bulletin that today we will be speaking to the PS of Tourism, and I'm going to ask questions that concern you because we want to find out what we should do this holiday and what incentives the ministry has for us this year and even the coming year. And our guest tonight is John Ololtua. He is the PS of Tourism. Thank you so much for joining us. And by the way, there was no memo on how to dress. It's just a coincidence. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. As already been indicated, my name is John Ololtua.
Yes.
I'm the PS State Department for Tourism.
Yes.
I want to take this opportunity to appreciate KBC for giving me this opportunity to be able to come and talk about the tourism sector.
Yes.
And I don't take it for granted. This is a national broadcaster that I would request even before I go ahead.
Yes.
That you can also play a critical role in promoting the image of Kenya and promoting tourism.
Yes, and part of the reason why you're here
and
with
part
us,
of the reason why I'm here with you
tonight. What would you say about 2023 when it comes to the tourism sector? We even saw from the beginning, the first quarter alone, a 31% increase. What has this year looked like?
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to say that the tourism industry is on a steady recovery.
Yes.
You remember during the COVID-19 pandemic, the numbers of tourists, especially international arrivals, were seriously affected. Actually from 1.4 million tourists to about 870,000 by around 2021. But the recovery has continued to happen.
Yes.
Right now, as we speak, just from January 2023 to October, because we have done that analysis, we now stand at 1.5 million, 1,597,854. That is the international tourists alone, or international arrivals. Of course, we have the domestic tourists. If you look at 2021, we had over 3 million domestic tourists. And 2022, we had about 3.6 or thereabouts there.
Yes.
We are yet to do the analysis for 2023 on the domestic tourists. But one thing which is very clear is that the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, taught us a very big lesson. And it actually became a catalyst to make the Kenyans understand, and even the East African region in general, that they can also be able to visit some of the very important attractions that they have in the country. You know, for a long time, sometimes we have always believed that a tourist is somebody who comes either from the region, maybe from the other countries, you know, outside Africa or even Africa. But that even a Kenyan is not a tourist. But I want to make it very clear that every person who visits an interesting site, whether it is a wildlife site, whether it's a cultural site, whether it's a historical site, or even attend events that are of touristic nature, is also a tourist. So that COVID-19 taught us a lesson, and that is what actually led to the growth of domestic tourism. So as we speak today, there is a lot. If you go to the coastal region, for example, I was there yesterday with the Honorable Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Dr. Alfred Mutua, together with the governors of the coastal region, where we are going to chart a way forward on how to transform the tourism sector at the coast. Just as a beginning, because we are starting with the coast, but we are moving to all the other regions. And one of the reports that we are getting is that the hotels are actually reporting or recording high numbers, both international and domestic. So I can see a growth both international and domestic.
So this year is going to be the best yet since COVID-19.
Yes, this year is going to be, we project that probably, as we stand right now, we have done only up to October. We are yet to do November up to December. So we project that it may be about 1.7 million or even 1.8 out to the end of the year. But if we look at what is happening world over, we still think that that is not adequate numbers. Those are not adequate numbers. We have the capability of actually moving to 5 million by 2027.
Yes.
And even more.
Yeah.
All that is required is to really put strategies in place to promote international tourism, regional tourism,
yes,
the East African community,
yes,
which we are really working on, and of course the domestic tourism, which is very critical and very, very important.
Yes.
So we believe that it's possible to achieve higher numbers than what we have now.
Yes.
And we of course have a very clear strategy and programs that will eventually make us realize this.
Yes. And what are some of the strategies that are going to be put in place to ensure that eventually we do get to the 5 million mark?
Yes. Thank you very much. There are a number of strategies,
yes,
but I'll just probably mention a few because of I know the time may not allow us to mention all of them.
Yes, yes.
But one of the most critical strategies which we have started with is first of all mapping all the touristic attractions in the country. We do not want to just believe that we can only depend on the beach and the wildlife. Kenya is rich and has a lot of diverse attractions. So what we are doing at the moment, first of all, is to identify and document all these attractions. We have already done phase 1, where we have worked together with the county governors, and we have identified the specific attractions in the 8 circuits of touristic circuits in the country. So we have listed down all of them, and that is step 1, just to list down all of them, what we have already, and what is there and probably has not been projected, has not been promoted, has not been communicated about. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, after mapping and identifying these touristic attractions, we are also looking at the infrastructure. How do we develop to ensure that whatever is required to make that attraction accessible is done? For example, where we require roads, we will work with the Ministry of Transport to ensure that the roads are there. Where we require airstrips, for example, to be either refurbished or to be improved, or even new ones to be opened, we will also be able to work with the relevant ministry to be able to ensure that that is done, so that it makes it easy. Air access, for example, is very important in tourism. Where, for example, maybe we require a heritage center.
Yes.
Like yesterday, some of the governors were indicating that they would like to see heritage centers in their counties, and where we have such an arrangement, then we partner with the county government so that the county government is able to put some funding. We also put as a national government, and we are able to put up, for example, if it is museums, if it is cultural centers, or even if it is facilities. One of the critical things that the Cabinet Secretary really has identified is the improvement of sanitation facilities in our national parks, our game reserves, and any other areas that are visited by tourists, including our beaches along the coast. And therefore, I said that the second thing is infrastructure, including even working together with the Kenya Airports Authority, working with all the other relevant stakeholders to ensure that any infrastructure that needs to be improved needs to be improved. That is number 2. Number 3, we have also want to also intensify research. Currently, we have the Tourism Research Institute is carrying out a research on impact of climate change on tourism. And we want to do a lot of research on what are some of the critical areas that we need to look at to make tourism sustainable, to make it competitive. Because you have to look at why is it that some countries are receiving 10 million tourists, why are they receiving much more than us? So we must also invest in research so that we are able to come up with what needs to be done, and we ensure that it is done. But the critical component above everything else is marketing. Because you must market what you have. And that's why we have started by documenting what we have. It's already documented, but we're just adding on to what is already there. So that is clear. Let me give you a practical example. Turkana County, for example, is a very important. It has a gold, something very special. The origin of humankind, the cradle of humankind, which is really so special to us and something that can really be projected. We have the Chalbi Desert in Marsabit, for example, in those areas, which is, Dubai is really, getting so many tourists because of the desert, the desert sports and other activities that happen. So we have a lot of important things that we have not marketed. So what we are trying to do now, through the Kenya Tourism Board, we are trying to ensure that we do digital marketing, we also do social media campaigns, and we also want to reach out to the influencers.
Yes.
Right? We have, of course, the comedians, we have the artists, those who sing, we have the athletes who move across the world doing their competitions.
Yes.
And we think that if we do marketing, we also have our foreign missions abroad. Right? We have every country that has a foreign mission. Is a very good opportunity that we can be able to develop materials or whatever that needs to be used to market the country.
Yes.
But we also have our Kenyan diaspora. Just recently we had the diaspora conference at KICC, which actually whose main aim was to encourage the Kenyan people all over the world to be able to come and invest in Kenya. You know, not just in the hospitality industry, but across board.
Yes.
And also, which was also meant to encourage them to visit Kenya also.
Yes.
You know, and bring their friends to come as tourists in Kenya, but above all also to market the country abroad. So we are also targeting in this particular campaign of marketing, we are targeting to use also the Kenyan people that are actually abroad, so that they can be able to market the country.
And so does it mean that when it comes to marketing, there's going to be also an increase of the marketing budget?
Yes, we are currently ensuring that we give more support to Kenya Tourism Board.
Yes.
In the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife, we have some of our state agencies that collect or that actually receive some money as A. And this is what we are also trying, apart from what the National Treasury allocates, we will also look at those particular funds and be able to allocate more money to Kenya Tourism Board to be able to do the marketing, and also allocate to those institutions that are carrying out research.
Yes.
But we also want to target the cost. Actually, we met with the governors yesterday, and one of the critical components that we looked at is the beach.
Yes.
We wanted to see under what we call the bottom-up transformation agenda, to be able to target these beach operators, first of all, map them in liaison with the county government, map all of them, encourage them to form their circles so that they can also probably benefit from the Hustler Fund and other funds. But above all, so that it becomes very organized.
Yes.
And they can be able now to, you know, to ensure that the tourists are not harassed in any way, but they are also getting a livelihood. So we have already put a program that by the third week of January, we'll be having another meeting. We have the levels of, we have, the summit, which has the cabinet secretary and the governors.
Yes.
Then we'll have the CCs and the PSS. Then we'll have, of course, the chief officers and the others down there, who will be meeting to look at anything that we have decided that we are going to do, so that we make sure that we do. But above all, we are also looking at the issues of, in the tourism sector, we have the Tourism Protection Service, which actually is the tourism police unit. So we're also looking at issues of security to ensure that the tourists are actually treated very well, and that they feel safe, and that any issues that emerge are addressed on time.
Yes.
So those are just some of the measures, because I've not mentioned a number of them. We're also working together with the Immigration Department to ensure that any issues that touch on immigration, we're indeed very happy about the visa-free regime, which is going to be implemented as from next year. But we are working very closely with immigration to see if, for example, we have people who want to come and do wedding tourism in Kenya, what can we do to make it better?
Okay.
If there are any issues that we need to address, we address as one government, and we are able to complement each other in ensuring that any bottleneck that comes across is addressed.
Yes, I like that you mentioned wedding tourism, and it tells me that we are looking at a variety of opportunities in Kenya. You mentioned about domestic tourism and the lessons learned during COVID-19. What incentives is the government putting in place to encourage Kenyans to tour the country? The holidays are here with us, and even next year.
Well, that's quite a very, very important question. First of all, we are promoting the Tempea Kenya campaign. That's one of the incentives that has been there. But we now want to put even more effort to, first of all, to make the Kenyans understand, because we are targeting the domestic tourists. We want to really make the Kenya the Kenyans to understand, to be proud of their country, and that's why we say Tembea Kenya. Go and see what is in Kenya. So first of all, we are doing that campaign just to encourage them and to make sure that they do that. We are also looking at how we can be able to, because if you look at the bottom-up transformation agenda, one of the key things is to look at the independent traveler and the youths who want to travel to our national parks, want to other, and so on, and maybe they cannot be able to afford. We are working very closely with the tourism stakeholders. We have the Kenya Tourism Federation, which is an umbrella body that brings on board all the stakeholders. We have the county governments.
Yes.
We are working very closely with them to see how, for example, the travel companies can provide cheaper transport for those who wish to go. How we can have, in partnership with the county governments, we can encourage the private sector to build cheaper hotels, not very far away from the national parks, just in the community conservancies and community land, to make it easy for these people to be able to visit. We're also working very closely with the hotels. And I think this one we are not yet done very far, but we are working with the hotels to see. Normally the rates are differentiated, the rates of the hotel rates, the accommodation for international and domestic. But we want to do, from next year, we want to do more stakeholder meetings with the hotel industry and all these other people to see how can we make this Kenyan feel very comfortable. How can we make it slightly affordable for them to be able to, to visit these places that they require. And so we are really doing that kind of encouragement as a way of incentive to for them to be able to visit our parks, and also go and spend in our hotels. We're also trying to indicate that, going for a holiday is not expensive. It's just about planning. Some of the tourists who come to the country save for 1 year or even a longer time for them to be able to travel. So we're trying to do a lot of campaigns to let the Kenyans understand that let's be proud of our country, let's know our land, let's go and see. Let's go to Turkana, see the cradle of humankind.
For the Christmas holidays. my director tells me that we are running out of time, but I really do want to thank you for just giving us some of the incentives and the places that we can tour during this holiday as Kenyans, and the plans that are underway to ensure that eventually by 2027 we reach the 5 million mark. Well, that rounds up news for tonight. I want to say a very special thank you to the Tourism PS, John Ololtua, who has joined us today. And from me and the rest of the team, I do want to wish you a very good night and a Merry Christmas, because this is the last time you are seeing me this week.
And from my end, I also like to wish all Kenyans a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year full of God's blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you.